It's cool. And I think we should perhaps see what problems there were with the automation challenge. So any of the participants, if they want to share now any problems they had with the program so far, with the content, what exercises they did. Guys, you can either unmute yourself or ask in the chat box, whichever is fine with us. So this is your chance to get direct help.
Yeah, don't be shy.
I think no breakout. I think the value of learning is for everyone, so I think we should keep it public. Like I'm sure it hasn't been easy for anyone, so whatever problems there are, we should discuss them in like the main chat, so everyone can learn from them. Okay, so anyone wants to start with where they are now in the program?
Yes, I have a question. I made a bold exercise, and when I was exporting the solution from PDF, I don't know, for some reason show me that the PDF was damaged. So I had to put a start page from 1 and end page for 1 because it was taking the index, and this was solved. I'm not sure it is something that I have to do, or how we can get the specific number of pages from the flow.
Good question. So it's probably worth, and it's going to be the same with, I think, a lot of these challenges. It's always great. I'm sure Frank will agree if we can sort of see that in practice. So is it Mauricio? Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Do you want to maybe share your screen and just show us what you've got there? And it would be really great to see the error happening and then see that solution, the kind of workaround that you put in place. I mean, just as an initial reaction, you shouldn't have to put the pages in if you're wanting to use the whole PDF. So the fact that you are having to go down that route suggests that something's going wrong. So it'd be good to kind of see that in action if it's all right.
Sure. Let me share my screen right now. So on this one, I think this one will be the correct one. Mm-hmm. Okay, this one, I guess. Oh, sorry. I'll need to go back to the Studio X.
You already did more than you should.
I was going to say you've gone ahead already.
Your studio profile, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've been doing some testing about with Studio X, with task capture, which is amazing. So
nice to hear that you're exploring stuff.
Yes, Studio X. So this should be the correct one. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'm missing something here. Let me open again. Studio X first with Office. I think it's this one. For each file, when I'm exporting this on input, check this. Right, so save this one. So on this link, I had to put end page 1 and start page 1. Otherwise, it will not work. So the default volume, if I'm not mistaken here, it was index, I guess. Current index, it was the proper value. So let me run. Oh, sorry, because I get this on the other screen. Current index. Let me run this one. Oh, it's running on into my, okay. made something wrong or I missed something here.
When you go through all the emails, are they are all the emails that are unread, or
Yeah.
okay, maybe they're already read and that's why it's not taking them.
Oh no, I get this one. Input vendor.
But that's a type into error.
Yeah, so
maybe-
we'll want to
maybe-
find, yeah, that's it. It seemed like it's not finding something on screen. So maybe just see if you can retry that error now that you've switched over to that screen.
Okay, let me type try that one. Yeah.
So, and from the error that we're seeing there, if you scroll up in the Studio X a little bit more, go back, and then sorry, in the output page.
Oh, actually, it's working. It's taking more
There we
time,
go.
but it's working.
Yep. After the retry, then maybe it was a timeout in this case.
Yeah. Here
Yeah,
it's creating the invoices, so
Mhm.
it's completed. So let me bring this the folder here. So training, so from first invoices PDF here. Oh yes, this is what is happening. So I'm opening this invoice and it say cannot open this file. The PDF is corrupted.
Mhm. Can you quickly go into the the invoice workbook from where we basically do the PDF saving? If we can take a quick look at that. So because I'm just checking, and basically there should not be a property, and then that's the question. The current index that you have been using to save the PDF.
Oh, okay. So
Where is
when we save
where
it
is it actually located?
on the save Excel as a PDF, I
Mhm.
change this, and by
Yeah.
default it was current index.
It should be, so it should work as empty. Right, so because the start page and ambition, that's what I meant in terms of the Excel file that you've been creating, right? So could we take a look at the workbook, so the invoice workbook there, that is in the project itself. It should be.
Oh, the folder, the project folder here.
Yep.
The invoices, yeah.
Mhm.
I will open the Excel, this one here.
Mhm.
I have this.
And this is the part. Usually there's a pagination part, but I don't think there is. So this should actually work without 1, right? Or current index, and that's the question of the current index. I'm not quite sure where this is set on your workflow. But overall, could we try with deleting it out, right? Get the current index out for start and end page and try again. Because what I suspect happens there is actually the current index. It's referring to a page that is not there, so I'm not quite sure. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4 for the invoices. So I would almost suspect, could we check if the first invoice is actually working and only 2, 3, and 4 are not? I just want to see if my suspicion might be correct.
Yeah, actually the invoice number 1 is working.
Yeah.
The number 2 is corrupted. The number 3 is corrupted.
Yeah. And that makes sense, right? Because current index is basically going through your 4 invoices, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and it works because you put in 1 and 1 because you have 1 page,
right?
But afterwards it doesn't work because there is no second page in the Excel. So overall it should still work. So that's why it's working with the 1 and 1, and with the save Excel as PDF. If you click to the right on properties, exactly, and if you just take the current index out, just clear the value completely. That should also work. So not even 1, just empty.
So how can I? If you get a clear value down at the bottom there, yeah, perfect.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, got it. That was it. Okay, perfect.
This is something that is happens quite a lot in UiPath, which is that if you come across those sorts of things, if you leave it blank, it will tend to default to generally what you want. And actually you tend to be filling out those types of properties only really by exception, would you say, Frank? You know, if you don't want it to work in the sort of simple and intuitive way, then you can force UiPath to do things in a certain way by adding numbers in there in those types of boxes. But I always tend to try it first of all with nothing in there just to see if it picks it up and just kind of does it intuitively.
Perfect. Now it's working. I got an error because of it was a file there. But also another question: is there any way how we can debug, like going step by step on Studio X, like we use on Studio?
No, actually not quite. This is one of the parts that is the more advanced part that is within Studio, right?
Okay, no, perfect.
So Mauricio, this feature will come to Studio X with the next release that's in autumn in November. You will find a new tab right next to design, the debug tab, but it won't have the same features as in Studio. It won't be as complex.
Okay. No, okay, perfect. And the last question is, what happened when any citizen developer create one of the solution, and the solution is to start getting bigger and needs to be updated for complex? Do we need to migrate this solution to Studio, or do we need to create from the scratch?
No.
You can import, so you can open Studio X files in Studio, no problem. You just can't do it the other way around. So if you've started off an automation in Studio, you won't be able to open it up in Studio X. But if you've started it in Studio X and you've come to really the end of the capabilities of Studio X, you can then open it up in Studio and continue to develop like that. That way round works very nicely. You just can't do it the other way around.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And one thing there is really, if you're talking about the more enterprise solution stuff, so if you want to work, for example, in the framework, which is then the de facto standard in terms of a resilient automation, and this is something where the flow will need rework. So while the conversion, like Dillan already mentioned, works absolutely great in terms of just opening it up for what you did in Studio X, switch back to Studio, open it up in Studio, and then it's basically already there. But there's then some more work needed in terms of if you want to use the reframework or also flowcharts, for example, right? This is then something that you can use as a basis basically from Studio X, but there is some work associated with actually getting it to be a, in quotation marks, real automation, right?
Okay, perfect. So I think that I had that question, and that is all.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mauricio.
Thank you so much.
Hope this helped. Okay. Someone else from what we have today in the call? Anyone else with some problems while doing the exercises? No one?
It's going to be an easy session, Christina.
Dillan, Nadia, everyone was okay with the exercises so far? Come on, guys, give us some feedback.
Like Christina said, feedback also appreciated.
Yes, we'd like to know where they are so far. Everything okay with Dillan? Okay.
So if everyone's got their automations working really nicely in terms of what you're asked to do, did anyone go any further with them? Has anyone done anything interesting and sort of built on that automation to make it maybe do a little bit more? If so, it would be great for you to share your screen and we can kind of check out what you've got. You can flex your new automation skills and show us any enhancements that you've been up to, if you've done any.
Yeah, that would be really nice. George, would you like to share your screen and show us what you got so far with your automation?
Yeah, problem with me. I cannot share because for this Visio, I'm on my professional desktop, and I work with my personal desktop because we don't have Microsoft Office on my company. So,
Okay. Okay, cool.
but it works on both,
Mm-hmm.
on G Suite particularly. So the path is more longer, but it's okay.
That would have been nice to see a G Suite automation.
Yeah.
Giel, would you like to share the screen and show us? Maybe, let's see. Guillermo, Nadia. Any of you would like to show us where they got so far with their automations in the program? Or what they tried from the last capsule in the program? Okay, so Guillermo is commuting. Nadia, would you please like to show us? Yes, but we would like to see your automation so far, even if you didn't have problems. Mauricio has a lot of questions. Okay, if Nadia, would you like to showcase your automations, even if you didn't have problems? Because that's what we would like to see, like how they look complete. If not, we would let Mauricio ask.
Hi guys, I'm sorry, I have a little bit problem with sound, so that's why it's not that much comfortable to write or talk. Actually, I had just one problem, like in the end of the point with read cells. I was doing with Google Docs, like that invoice part of tasks. And I had problem, but I can show right now because I'm from phone. Probably I will join a night meeting, which will be in America, and I then can show them screen. But in forum there was tags, people show the same screens, which they have the same problem with read cell when they're like playing their process. They had the same problem. Probably if you saw already and you know solution and you can tell, it could be great. But right now I'm so sorry I can show my screen.
Okay, then maybe we can look a bit at the forum thread, Bianca.
Yeah, I open now.
Nadia, if you can just explain, when you say there's a problem with the, is it the reading or the writing of the cell? What actually happens when it runs? Does it error or does it read the wrong information? What kind of
error. When
stuff
I'm
happens?
playing, it's error, and there is in forum you will see, like if you will open, people share the same screens, like it's read cell error when you are doing the Google Docs. If you can check, if you have opportunity to check, it will be nice. But if it's no, I will do in midnight with guys from America.
That's all good. I think Bianca's working
Yeah,
away
I'm
in the background,
looking
getting it for us.
after it, but I cannot find it in the Reboot Your Skills category. Is it under here?
Look, when you are opening our tasks, there is forum under the task. So people discussing directly that part of task.
Okay. Let me go back. Here. So your
when
first
you're
automation.
opening courses, when you're opening course where is like videos from where we are taking our task. Under it, there is on the bottom of page, like there was forum part. In case I had. open course. And there was part of the like lessons which is with video. And when you are finishing all videos, like it's fourth lesson, if I'm not wrong. Here. Yeah. And
Okay.
I had here forum.
Okay, so I guess what's happening, so you're taking the other course that's Build Your First Automation. That's not actually part of the program, but it has the same content.
Yes, I have.
So it's this one.
It's
the Build Your
starting
First-
like yes, in Studio X. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Can I ask you a question? The
I'm
package
so
that you've
grateful to you
installed.
that you found it.
Okay, so the package that you've installed for Google Workspace, did you install a preview version by any chance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then that's the problem. You should just revert to an official version, a version without the latest without preview at the end.
Okay. So yes, in here. And first when like I checked that probably it was a problem when you are entering. Yes, in here. I add even some comments. Like before to what I was answering for which questions you could see, guys were sharing screens, they had the same problem. First, when I ran like my process, it worked, but probably I didn't save or what, and then it didn't work again. I don't know what was the problem about.
Can you zoom in a bit, Bianca, on the screen?
Here?
That's great, yes. Wait, right cell, and there was a higher read cell also, this problem.
This one?
I mean up. I thought that problem was about it, but it didn't solve. Higher, up.
Wow, so many issues. Okay.
Here, this one. Yes, with this I had problems the same as guys had, but I'm so sorry that I can show my screen right now.
So Bianca, do you think this is to do with the Google Docs version?
Yeah. And also with let me grab and open my studio quick. New project. So you have for the upload file to Google Drive, there's a checkbox that allows you to convert the file into a Google Workspace file type. You have to check that box because you're trying to upload an Excel, and that's not the actual format supported by G Sheet. And just downgrade your package version. And that should be it.
Okay, I will check again. I will try. Thank you, guys. That's what I meet with problem. But actually, I did everything the same what was in video, so it should work, I think. Thank you. That was all.
Okay, I think we let Mauricio ask now.
I have a question related to automate. I want to run a process and a folder as we did for the invoices, but this process I need to get all the information for a picture like geotags, like camera model, all that information. And there is a tool that is called exittool.org. I'm doing the research still, but basically I'm not sure if we can send a command to run this command prompt from Studio X from a project. I don't know if we can do that as a Studio X only. Basically running the command and wait for the command to end.
The waiting part is the more difficult part here. So in the normal one, there's a start process, right? You can even, so in the normal studio, you can either use the start process to open a command line and then basically doing it there and waiting for the command line to disappear again, or start the process directly with the exe file and the input parameters. To be quite honest, in Studio X, so we can use application or browser, but I think for command lines, this is really something more suited for the normal studio. But Dillan, if you have other insights there?
Yeah, so I would, if I was trying to get that data, I would maybe try and go through maybe a different application that kind of pulled that information out of the photo. So you would get access to the sort of geotags and stuff like that by basically running it through another application. You can get things online, for instance, where you can put the picture in and go ahead and extract that information out. So that's an alternative way of doing it. If you want to go down using that command route, Studio X, to be perfectly honest, it's not really designed to get that technical, I think, basically with your desktop in terms of going into command prompt. You would be able to open up the command prompt using sort of use application browser. So treating it like another application, you would probably be able to type into it. I think one of the challenges, as Frank said, is understanding when it's done. It's still doable though, because you could be sitting there reading that command prompt screen, waiting for something to have told you that it's finished, and extract that data out. It might be a bit of a complicated mechanism though to sort of put into a Studio X automation. The other thing you could do is you could maybe open up your Studio X to include some of these developer activities, which actually gives you access to activities that more traditionally would be in Studio. So you could then sort of go down the route that Frank was saying about actually using command prompt, using sort of better activities basically that are usually contained within Studio. The only problem with doing that is that they're not designed to be used with Studio X, so they can be a little bit temperamental. I would certainly probably explore other ways of doing it maybe before you went down that route. If I was doing it, like I say, I'd probably find a good application, like a cloud-based application that you could just open up a browser, go to a certain URL, feed in the photo that you wanted and get the data extracted out like that.
Okay, no, perfect. That will work for me. But for this scenario, it will be better be working this solution on Studio and do the whole process over there.
I'm just looking into it now. It looks interesting.
That might be another set of activities for UiPath to build, both in Studio actually and Studio X, pulling that kind of information from photos. It's one of those things that every photo nowadays pretty much gets taken on a phone and includes lots of things like the geotags and stuff like that. So probably quite a nice set of activities actually that could be built for both Studio and Studio X.
Okay, thank you. That is that. Thank you so much.
No worries. So we still got just over 10 minutes left. Anyone else been doing anything interesting? That was an interesting one, Mauricio. Anyone else been sort of doing anything maybe outside of the program that they've been doing on their own and they wanted to show off? I think if we have some cool stuff, I know I'm sure Frank and I would be happy to splash around LinkedIn telling everyone how good your automations have been if you've got some cool stuff to show us.
I think if George is unable to show his desktop and Nadia is still commuting, we don't have a chance for that. So only if Mauricio wants to show us pieces of what he has done. If not, I think we will close it for today. Mauricio, would you like to show us something more from what you have done?
I would love, I'm still a work in progress, just doing the research, but I have another question related to this because I got an error running the same process because I got a message with no reply from no reply UiPath, but this message, it has an attachment, a long attachment. Let me share my screen again. So, and I could run the, where are we? Screen number 1, okay. With this, I registered for this event. So on the same exercise I run today, and it got this file with a long name, and it got an error.
Invite.
Sorry?
I think that's a calendar invite.
Yeah, it is a calendar invite. So when I tried to do this, when I was running the same flow, I got an error. So I basically moved this message from the folder, and my exercise was working. So how can we troubleshoot this or this unexpected when we have error? Do we have any error control on Studio X or something like that?
Good question. I think similar really to the question earlier on about debugging. So Studio X isn't quite as in-depth when it comes to debugging and error handling as Studio is. The reason for that simply being that the types of automation that you expect to build in Studio X are likely going to be a little bit simpler, maybe more task-based than some of the end-to-end processes that you're going to be making in Studio. So I know at the moment, I think it's fair to say there's not a lot of error handling in Studio X at the moment, but Bianca, do you know if that's coming out in another update alongside debugging capabilities in Studio X?
Not sure. So,
I mean, the question is when a final user, a regular user is running the flow, how they will know that, or where was the error doing that? Maybe on the UiPath assistance, they will see the error that the flow didn't run, or?
So when an error occurs, if it's not been caught anywhere else, and if you are, say, running it from the assistant, you should get the error message. And this is where good coding practices come in, because if you have taken all your activities and created your process flow in Studio X, what you really want to do is go over all of your activities and rename them and give them names that are specific to what it's doing right there. So save for later is a good example. You could have loads of save for laters in there, and by default, they'll all be called save for later. So if an error occurs in one of them, you're going to get a message saying something's happened in one of your save for laters, and you're not really going to know which one it is. But if you rename them all individually, so maybe you say save name for later, save date of birth for later, something like that, then in your error message, it should pull through the name of that activity, and it will tell you then basically exactly where that error has occurred. So I think it's more down to a sort of good practice thing more than anything, in terms of making sure that you're renaming all of your activities, so that if errors do occur, you're actually going to get the name of that specific activity pull through in the error as well. So you're much more easily going to be able to identify what's happened and where it's happened in the automation.
Okay, perfect. That solved the question. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I think we have a new guest that joined us. Hello, Asha. Can you unmute yourself and tell us where you are on the journey with the program now, whether you had any problems?
If possible, I would like to quickly jump into the last question, because I think one thing, as Dillan mentioned it before, and there's still the possibility, if you really want to go in depth, to enable the developer activities and actually use the try catch within the Studio X part. And the other handling that we saw before, where you had the arrow pop up, this is actually the error handling that is within the normal Studio X, where you have the retry ignore, right? So this is also something that would pop up for the users, right? So if it's an error that came because the website wasn't loaded, there's other parts that you can do in terms of just making sure that the website is loaded correctly. So this is done in Studio by an element assistant. I think in Studio X, it's more about the I think check app state. It is called. Yeah, exactly, the check app state, where then basically can check if the app is in the expected state. Well, that wasn't like a great but so this helps you just in the workflow, like Dillan mentioned before, in terms of structuring it correctly, renaming the activities to make sure that if an error is thrown to nowhere, but then also using these, I would say, initial control mechanisms, right, to make sure that the app and the other parts of the workflow basically in the state that you want them to be. This also helps to avoid getting errors.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just asking Gasha whether he wants to show us any automation he has completed. Asha, would you like to show us anything from what you have completed? You were struggling on Studio installation, but you managed? Is Studio installed and did you complete any automation? Okay, so he went into America's session and Tracy helped. Okay, would you like to show us anything from what you automated? Like, if you want, please share screen and show us something. Okay, so he's still in progress. Okay, so I think we can close it from today. For today, there's no more troubleshooting, and of course we have another live office hours tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you very much, Frank, and thank you very much, Dillan, for joining us and helping our audience. We'll close it for today, and see you tomorrow, guys. Bye, Mauricio. Bye, Dillan.
I think there's one quick question.
Yeah, I think
Right.
just wanted to get a quick question in there.
Yeah, sorry, I finally have one question. I can share my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can now, yes. Before you
Yeah, so I took another computer. Just the problem with you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So just my problem with this computer, so I just have G Suite and I can't open Microsoft Office. So I have a problem with the Excel. So for my robot move and rename file, just here, I have a problem when I want to use so the Excel, the open, sorry. So the open notebook to make the move and rename my files. I just cannot open it. So I don't know how I can do it.
So it should work directly. Excel is installed on the computer, right?
No, I don't have it, and it's not
Then it won't. Then it
by
won't
the
work.
company.
If Excel is not installed, so this is something.
No,
Studio.
it's not allowed. I just have a spreadsheet Excel online with the G Suite.
Yeah, so that doesn't work within the Microsoft space. If you have it in G Suite, I think this is then the part why the second option is there to do it with the Google Workspaces automation, basically. So to use Excel needs to be installed. There's a way in Studio without, but for these Studio X activities, you need to have Excel installed.
Okay, so that's normal. Okay, thank you. So that's just my question. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Okay, so I think that's it. We can close for now and see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you very much, Dillan. Thank you very much, Frank. Bye. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.